So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Aggie's live talk show on Radio RFM based in Stuttgart, Germany. We've been trying to get our guest today on video, and it's been a challenge, but we are here and we're going to talk with her anyway, despite the challenges. Welcome. This afternoon, we are talking about life in diaspora in Norway, or Norwegian diaspora for Africans, and we have Chemna Talks, a lady who has already left a mark on her history. Actually, her biography is very interesting. So if you have been wanting to know about Norway and Kenyans who are residing there, or Africans who are residing there, how is it like to be in Norway? I have never been there, so I'm also as curious as you are to know about life there. So welcome, guys, and don't hesitate to ask your questions. Don't hesitate to get challenged. Just be open and be ready to learn, just like just like me, just like anybody else who is as curious as me, because I always want to learn. So Chemna Talks will be waiting to talk with us, and I think it's gonna be fun. So welcome, guys, get ready and interact with. And we're going to get our guest soon online so that she can tell us about her life. This is a lady who already has left some information online. If you want to know more about her, get on Facebook and check for Chemna Talks, and also I think on Tuko. But she's gonna tell us more about her life, and she has a very very interesting story. So I'm not gonna talk much. Let's try to get her. She's been waiting long enough. We've been fighting together to get through with this digital thing, but I think now it's the right time to get her, and let's hope she's ready. Let's see if we can get her. Madams this life, eh? Hi, finally, eh? That was a fight. I was looking forward to hearing your voice, and this thing is not letting us go the way we want. But I'm happy that you're here. How are you doing? Yeah, I would have loved to have you on camera, but anyway, next time, because this is not the last time. We're gonna have other chances, and I hope it's gonna work better. So tell us about us. Who are you, and what can we learn about you? Tell us about your name and where you come from, and when and how you got where you are. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Adi, for having me in the studio today. And we must apologize for the technical issues that your audience will not be able to see me today. But all in all, I think the voice is the most important thing. And here we are. So my name is Caroline Chemna, born and brought up in Anyuki. To a family of Mr. and Mrs. They used to be called Kolo in the Wakati. That is how our villagers used to call him. And Mr. Kolo had two wives, the one in Anyuki and the other was lived in Kapsabet. And therefore we were a big family of, or I call it small family of 17 kids. And in both families, I'm second last. So maybe I was lucky or unlucky to come as a second last, but whatever the place in the family number there, we got to have disadvantages and advantages. But having said that, after being born and brought up in Anyuki, I went to school, a primary school called Kalalo Primary School. That is between Anyuki and Timao for Kenyan diaspora, probably who would know those places.
Yeah.
Then when I got to class 8, the fate will have it based on my parents' age and resources. Would be resources not so much, but probably their age, and also from a cultural perspective or their cultural orientation. Then after class 8, I was taken through the residential passes, like girls in And therefore my journey began there. I left my family and I was sent to Kapsabet by my parents to go and stay with my auntie as I contemplated and thought my way forward. And when in Kapsabet, then I was trained by my auntie then, that my dad was doing illicit brew for survival. And then I was inducted in that, or I was introduced in that. And given that those days, according to Kalenjin culture, a girl, they never used to force girls, but it was more often that there used to be arranged marriages, yeah, and then it was the issue of small girls being married off to old men who could be able to give dowry in form of animals. And after realizing that the environment that I was in was not conducive, and chances were I was likely to be married off, I decided to come back to Nanyuki. And then knowing that education was nothing to on my parents' table, then I decided to start working as a house help. And therefore, my first house help work was at Nanyuki Air Base. I worked there for a couple of months, and the man of the family wanted to take advantage of me sexually, and I realized then my life was in danger. I left that family and I head to Meru, where I worked for one family for a few months or so. And due to a few things here and there, I moved from that family and ended up to another family. That was back in 1995. Actually, I would have said that my first time I ended up my education was back in 1993 when I did my class 8 for those who understand 844 education system, Kenyan system. And therefore, in 1995, I joined now my third family that employed me as a house help, and I worked there for 3 months. 3 years, sorry. And after 3 years, I was taking care of a grandchild in that particular family. And the mother of the child was in college, and she had, by the third year, she was finished with her education and was trying to settle in Nairobi. And now she needed her son to Nairobi, in Nairobi. And therefore, Caroline's job was almost getting over. But because of the good relationship we had cultivated together with my then the grandchild to this boy, who was my partly my employer, because I was employed by the mother of this girl, but this boy, because I was staying with her parents, who are grandchild to her son. So they told me, Caroline, we cannot release you because you've been so good to us, and we wouldn't want to imagine one day being employed by another woman who would mistreat you. And they asked me that if I wish to go back to school, because for them they said, we can support you to start a business, but we are not sure that that business can transform your life.
Wow.
And therefore, without thinking a lot about it, I never even thought twice when they asked me that. That was back in 1997, around November.
Amazing.
I said, yes, I will go back to school. And again, remember at this particular time, I'm 19 years old, and they're asking me whether I would wish to go back to school. And I said yes, without even thinking. Hello, I'm 19 years old.
Yeah.
I left school in 1993. I've stayed outside the school for 4 years. Which school am I going back to?
Yeah.
I thought about that at night, because the woman who I call mom right now, she's called Mrs. Kabiti. They live in Meru, a place called Kaderi, for those probably who would understand those areas, that their geographical area.
Yes, I
and
know
therefore
that.
At night I started thinking, I started thinking, hey, yeah, Caroline, you said yes to going back to school. How old are you now?
With
Which school are you
19.
going? You know. But the good thing is that when I told mom that I would want to go back to school, she told me, I know you had not thought about this. Spend the whole of today, and tomorrow morning I want you to give me a complete answer. And when the following morning came, much, but I confirmed and I told her, Mom, I am decided. I'm going back to school. And then she told me,
Wow.
wow, are you going to go to Form 1 or to Class 8? For her, she wanted me to go to Class 8. And then I told her, no, I think I'll want to go to Class 7 because I've stayed for quite some time outside the school. And what informed my decision to go back to Class 7 was her words, because when I confirmed that I want to go back to school, she told me, Caroline, you have decided to go back to school. My child, all what I want you to bring me or to reward me with is a degree. And
Yes.
therefore, when she asked me what level I want to go back to, and I thought, no, I wouldn't want to go to Class 8. Probably I may not perform well. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to go to Form 1 because it's been quite some time
Yeah.
before I was in school. And
Yeah.
remember, Aggie, I was brought up in a remote part of
Yeah.
Nanyuki then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, even the foundation of education back in Nanyuki was not that so good. Therefore, even English, I could not even express myself in English. And
You're
therefore,
so
I thought going
strong.
back to Class 7 was
My
the
God.
best thing so that I could be able to gather momentum.
Yeah.
And back in 1998, she kept her word. My worry at that particular time was my parents, because I told her, Mom, if you want me to go back to school, please don't ask my parents for any coin.
Mm.
But I was not sure whether they are going to say yes or no, or whether they were going to say no, let my child come back home if you
Mm.
start asking us for money. So I didn't want her to involve them. But for
Mm-hmm.
her, it was clear to her that all what she wanted a yes from me, and she could do the rest,
Mm-hmm.
together with her children, whom I love and who love me so much.
Yeah.
Therefore, come 1998, she took me back to school in Class 7 at the age of
Wow.
19. And I remember it was news in the whole village.
I can
And let me tell you,
imagine.
Aggie,
I can imagine with 19 people are getting into university, you are
I
going
tell you,
freely, willingly to Class 7. Wow.
to Class 7. And
Wow.
I'll never forget the first day to that particular, it was just a normal village public primary school.
Yeah.
And therefore, you can imagine kids that were going to that school came from the same village. I was working as a house help, a member of my church. By then, I was going to a denomination called Holy Gospel. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, my church was an immediate neighbor to the school I was taken to. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember the day I reported to that school, the whole school came to see this house help.
Yeah.
Unajua,
Yeah.
back home, for those who understand, those days we never used to be called managers. Today, I see my friends calling the house help managers. Those days we
Yeah.
used to be called maids, yeah.
Yeah.
And those days, because maids were I don't know why maids were seen as people who were indisciplined, people who were thieves, and all those things. There's
Mm.
nothing good that used to be seen in houses those days.
Yeah.
Only by the grace of God, if you happen to go to a nice family like
Mm.
Mr. and Mrs. Kabiti, may
Hey.
God continue resting Mr. Kabiti in peace.
Mm.
He left us back in 2015.
Oh,
And
sorry.
therefore, when I went back to school, the whole school was like, come and see this house help, this maid that has been
This
working at
was.
Kabiti's place. She come to school.
Oh,
And
God.
as
Uh-huh.
if that was not enough, I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I was to go back home that evening, in my village, or in that village then, there
Mm-hmm.
used to be a place which is common in many villages in Kenya, whereby young men normally gather at a certain point by the road. I don't know what they do. I don't know whether they count the people that are passing
Just
or
hanging
voters that are
around.
passing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I do.
So then when they saw me, they started saying, "Oh, our grandmother has gone back to school. What a shame!
Oh.
She just wants to humiliate herself among those
Oh.
children." And I was so heartbroken. And when I got home, I told my mom and Mrs. Kabiti, and she told me, I remember her words, and her words have remained anchor in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and a principle that I live by, because she told me, my daughter, I sent you to school to study.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to those voices that are by the roadside, or left, or on your left and on your right.
Mm-hmm.
I I'll be sending you to school every morning, and what I ask of you is to walk straight. Don't look at your sideways, but go.
Don't even listen to them.
Men who are laughing at you,
Mm-hmm.
those men that are seated by roadside to ridicule you. One day you will come back to this village driving a car, and the things that you'll be bringing to me, they are the people who shall upload.
Yes. Amazing. That
You
was
know,
a woman of
from
faith.
that day, I think that the only motivation I wanted to hear, I wanted in my life,
Yeah.
is to forget about my age, forget about what people think about me, and to focus on my new induced dream, because I normally say it was an induced dream because it was unexpected. You know, and
Wow.
therefore I started dreaming. You know, I started dreaming big. I started bringing of this Caroline, who
Yes.
in a few years' time will totally be different thing apart from the house that she is today.
Yes.
And
Yes.
therefore, I put my best foot forward in matters education. And actually, by the grace of God, I'm a Christian, and therefore, in my conversation, you hear a lot of God.
No, I like it. It's good.
And therefore,
Very inspiring.
yes, yeah. So I put my best foot forward, and I trusted God, and I told God, God, I know it was your favor that has located me. Please guide me, and whatever that you had in mind with me, or the end result that you had for me when you put this burden in this particular woman to take me back to school, please let it come to pass. And therefore, I did very well in primary school. In the 2 years I stayed there, studied
Congrats.
there. And then I earned myself a slot in a provincial school in Meru. Those days it used to be a professional provincial school. Today they are categorized as counties, sub-counties, and national schools. So by then it was a provincial school, and a very nice school that it was very many people wished that they would make it to that school, called Kaga Girls.
Kaga Girls. Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it.
Yes. Yes, so I made it to Kaga Girls, and at Kaga Girls, God still walked with me. By the time I was sitting my KCP, actually I used to be among the best the whole 3 years, the whole first 3 years. But by the time I was in Form 4, I think I had started thinking, or let me say, there was a lot of many factors that had started affecting me, and among them, they are just carrying unnecessary things. What I normally tell those who care to listen, that it's good not to try to get control of things that you have no control over.
Yeah.
And at that particular time, I had lost my dad, I had lost my sister. I had already turned 25 in Form 4, and I was thinking, Caroline, when will you start doing things your age mates are doing?
I mean, I can imagine. Yes. Oh, I think you're a very courageous woman. You're very courageous, because I can imagine all the ridicule, standing all the ridicule, and also the ridicule, and then also just pushing forward, and all those other things that happened. Okay, I'm so curious to hear how it went on.
Yes, thank you. So, but I did my best, and still in Form 4, I was shaky a little bit, and I remember some teachers who were concerned. Of course, they were on my neck. They are asking me, Caroline, you cannot afford to start performing poorly at this particular stage. Actually, for the first time in my 3 years in Canada, I got a C plus, and a C plus for me and for the teachers was like something that unheard of, and therefore they tried to push me a little bit and try to find out what was happening in my life. But of course, as any other young woman, you know, they start thinking about, you started these boys things and all this, and I was thinking, for heaven's sake, I don't even have a place to put a boy or whoever in my life, because I don't even understand my life.
Yeah.
But anyway, by the grace of God, when I did my KCMC, I managed to get a B plus that also secured me a place at the University of Nairobi.
Good.
And it was while at the University of Nairobi that again, God was not done with me. He opened a way for me whereby I secured a scholarship to Norway. And
wow.
Here I am in Norway talking to Agnes in Germany. So yes,
so it was a scholarship that got you in Norway.
Yes.
Amazing. Look at that. Look at that. I would call the family that got you back to school. Those were your destiny helpers. Those were your
I
destiny
tell you,
helpers.
I think when I look at my life story, I see Moses in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
whereby something had to happen so that he could be put in a basket and be thrown wherever he was thrown to be found to finally end up in a king's house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and in our lives, most of the time, uh, God might use some situations that look so pathetic to propel us to our destiny. But of course,
Yes.
before that particular destiny comes to realization, you have to go through many things, and it depends on how you respond to those things that happen to you that will determine whether you
Yeah.
are going to make it to your destiny or you're going to die on or to be killed on the
Exactly.
way. And therefore,
Exactly.
for me, when I look back in 1993, when I boarded a matatu to Kapsabet, and when I see where I'm seated today, if I am asked to connect the two, actually, I could not relate the two. I could not relate my journey to Nanyuki Air Base to work as a house help to where I am. I cannot connect heading to Meru. First of all, I was employed at Agikumene. I know you know that
I know
we
the
come from the
areas.
same
You know,
region
you're
of the
flashing me back
you know
home. Now I understand why you speak Kimeru. You know, I was thinking you are Meru. I mean, it's amazing. But now the connections, now
actually
the connection is coming clear. My goodness. But that's amazing.
yes, actually, I also identify myself as Meru, but actually I don't have anything Meru in me apart from learning the language because my dad was a Kalenjin and my mom is Kikuyu.
Kikuyu.
So yeah,
Amazing.
that's how my I got integrated or assimilated into
The
Meru
Meru
thing. Yeah.
ethnicity. Actually, and you're welcome. I mean, you
Yes.
fit completely to Merus. Look, you look like my sister. Huh?
Thank you.
Yes. And I was telling my
Yes,
producer, yeah, you
yes,
know she's
yeah.
a Meru. You know she's a Meru. And now it's quite clear you only the language makes you a Meru. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What I'm happy about is how things turned out for you. So did you get to go through university in Kenya, or you went direct from the first year of university to Norway? How did that work? And why Norway? Why no?
Yes,
I mean, could you have gotten a scholarship in US, or it was specifically to Norway?
no, it was specifically to Norway. When I went to University of Nairobi, I was enrolled to do
Mm-hmm.
BA, and I took social work. Of course, in Kenya there is this generalization in first year of BA. You just take some combination, and then in second year, if things haven't changed from then
Mm-hmm.
those days, then we used to choose three courses, and then in second year you now choose either to take major, minor, or to specialize. And therefore in second year I chose the social work as my main thing. Not my
Mm-hmm.
I was not combining. I wanted just to graduate with a bachelor in social work. And
Okay.
therefore when we enrolled for social work, we got to hear about an exchange program that was between the University of Nairobi Department of Sociology and Social Work
Mm-hmm.
and a certain university college here in Norway called Volda, VOLD,
Yeah.
a Volda University College.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, I had done my first two semesters in first year for the general courses, and then I did my first semester of social work. So I studied 3 semesters at the University of Nairobi before
Mm-hmm.
now getting the scholarship. So when the scholarship was announced, we hadn't started our first semester in social work. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, we had to do interview. We applied first and then did interview, and then while waiting for the feedback, then I managed to finish my first semester in social work. But then I did not go for second year because I had to move to Norway immediately after the results were out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is why I'm saying that we didn't have any option. It was just what that was there at that particular time, because they used to give students from Department of Sociology and Social Work, especially basically social work students scholarship, and
Mm-hmm.
then they would send their students, their third year social work students to Kenya for their practice and exposure
Ah.
and
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So how long was
So
that
yeah, we
planned
never
for?
had. Pardon?
How long was that planned for this student exchange program? How long was that supposed to be?
Well, this is another funny thing. Agnes,
Okay.
I reported at the University of Nairobi when I was already 27 because during our time after high school, we used to have 2 years break before you could join university.
Yeah.
So I go to the university, I study for 3 semesters, and then I relocate to Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we came here, then the condition was you undergo you had to undergo Norwegian course because everything bachelors here are instructed in Norwegian,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore we had to do the language our first academic year, and then when we were supposed to proceed with our bachelors, then we had to start from scratch. So it means that
Whoa.
there was no credit transfer from the University of Nairobi. So here I am
You had
at 29,
really?
30 years now, starting my degree afresh.
Oh my goodness
It was tough.
gracious.
It was tough, but when I looked at my life, sacrificing 4, 5, 6 years was
Wow.
not anything for me because I knew the future mattered more than the few years that I could just contemplate. No, I cannot just waste my 3 semesters, and I cannot just come and start afresh. But given the situation at that particular time, I thought that was the right thing to do. So
Mm-hmm.
we came here, did the first year of language, and then did our bachelor's for 3 years. And Agnes, believe you not, that was not what that was just a beginning because after that I enrolled for masters, and
Mm-hmm.
then I was growing old, yeah, and I needed to
Yeah.
do what my age mate had done like more than 5 years ahead of me.
Yeah.
Therefore, while uh, still doing my undergraduate, I got involved in a relationship that ended up in a marriage,
Okay.
and therefore I got married in 2009
Mm-hmm.
in Kenya. Our wedding was at it's no Utalii
Mm-hmm.
grounds there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is where we did our wedding at. Then from there, I started doing what I contracted myself in that marriage to do, and therefore, before I could graduate, kids started coming.
Hey.
So I am
Hey.
growing old. I am wifing. I am mothering.
Ay.
And I'm doing my studies. Yeah. And therefore, in 2012, I delayed in school because I had to take a break. After getting my first child, I took a break, and therefore I graduated with my undergraduate in 2012, and then enrolled for masters immediately. And then within the course of masters, I got 2 more kids, and therefore
Hey.
my masters
You are
delayed.
multitasking. This
And
is
then
what people say. It's multitasking. I mean, your mother, your wife,
I
your
tell
student,
you.
your. Hey, my goodness. Huh?
When I look back, I don't even know. I don't even understand how I made it. But of course, my education was affected because I did my 2 programs that were supposed to take 5 years in 10 years. But I don't regret
Whoa.
because I had other 2 degrees here and there. I got two
Yeah.
kids that I look at today, and I feel nice. And again, the beauty of being here is that even well, I was doing my undergraduate, I was working part time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm getting kids and I'm doing my masters, my life was not on a standstill. I
Yeah.
was still working. Actually, the whole of my master's program, I was working within my career area. I was working as a social worker, so I cannot regret.
Yeah.
So when I look back, actually, I don't have anything to regret about my life because I think it is better the journey I've walked than I would have rejected the idea of going back to school because I don't think I would have achieved what I have achieved today if I never went back to school.
It's amazing. I have a question here now. When you married, did you relocate back to Kenya and stay with your husband and study from there? Or are you studying and getting these children and being married and you're in Norway and your husband is where? I mean, is it a Kenyan? I
Okay.
mean, we have to
Yeah,
sort out this story.
yeah, only my dating was a little bit of a remote control, and but when I got married, my ex-husband, actually, we divorced a few years ago.
Yeah.
My ex-husband joined me here.
Ah, okay.
He was done with education, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore he just came for a family reunion. So he came and through studies, because as you might be knowing so far, relocating to any country is easiest through education programs. So
Yeah.
he came here as a student, but
Mm-hmm.
it was basically for reunion. He pursued his masters, another masters, and
Mm-hmm.
because of language challenges, and when you finish school and you've been working, it's not like moving to a new country as a student whereby you start from scratch and you
Yeah.
get integrated into the system.
Yeah.
So for him it was a little bit difficult because of language, and also because of job opportunities,
Yeah.
as I see it, or as I understood then.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore he realized that staying here was difficult for him,
Mm-hmm.
in the light of his career perspective, and he chose to go back home. And
Okay.
therefore our plans were, we move back home together.
Okay.
So, and how to do it, we had to have a transition whereby he decided to move back with our firstborn, so
Mm-hmm.
that I could remain behind and finish the school, so I could join them.
Mm-hmm.
But before, and then I was left with our second born, and then life became tough as a single mother
Yes.
and a student, and working to support myself, because the scholarship I was awarded was only for bachelor's.
Yeah.
So then he decided to take in even the second born, but the problem, or the good thing, or whatever, I don't know how to call it, but
Whatever you call
before I
it.
knew it,
Uh-huh.
yeah, the third born was here, and therefore, I had many
Hey.
balls in the air that I was to take care of, that I don't miss any. But I think along the journey,
Yeah.
I happened to miss the marriage ball, and it hit hard on the ground,
Yeah.
and therefore from um, from 2018, that is where when we started our divorce journey, and whereby he opted out of our marriage because things were not going as we had envisioned,
Yeah.
and therefore he served with a divorce, and I had no choice rather than to grant him.
Yeah. Ah, he is the
And
one who
then
initiated the divorce.
yeah, he's the one it's something that actually we that was mentioned most of the time on our table of discussion.
Yeah.
But I think what was holding us for many years was who is going to move further,
Yeah.
because of many things, and especially for me as a Christian. I was just feeling the shadow of that Christianity and divorce. What does my doctrine teach me about the divorce and all those things? But
Oh,
anyway,
yes.
so that is something that, yeah, so we struggled with it, but I think he got fed up before I got there. So he's the one
I can
who went
understand. When
first.
the story is not going so
And yeah,
smoothly like before. Yeah, I understand.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, and that is why for me it was not an issue to grant him his wish, because I knew, and for sure this is something we both wanted badly. And
Mm.
that is why most of my talks, or wherever you may hear me talking in a public platform, you hear me say, the day I received my divorce papers was the best day in my life, because I wanted it badly, but I had no courage to
To
to make the
say
first
it.
move.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I have met many people like
Yeah,
that. You want it, but because of your culture or upbringing or Christianity or religion generally, you don't have the courage to start the process. So it was a relief for you
yeah.
that he came up with the idea finally. He had the courage.
For me, let me tell you again. I remember these days very well, because I'm an author, and that is when I had done my first book, and I was to travel to Kenya to launch it, and therefore had prepared and planned my event and all these things. And in the middle of the event, that is when his lawyer came with the divorce papers, and he stabbed me right in the middle of the function. And let me tell you, I don't know. There's another energy I got during that function after getting
Goodness.
the divorce papers and signing them. The energy I got to autograph my books was, and I was on another level, because I thought, oh my God,
Yeah.
finally,
Finally.
finally,
Finally.
finally, I'm where I've been longing to.
To be.
So for me, I would say that it is true. In most cases, actually, no one who gets into a marriage hoping that one day it come to an end. But
Mm-hmm.
again, after doing what you know how to do it, and I think that people should embrace the fact that things are not working, and it
Mm.
is for the best interest of every party involved in that particular marriage, people
Mm-hmm.
should go separate ways. Yeah. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why you see, in particularly, let me talk about my country, Kenya, where I know best. We've been having the issue, the cases of couples killing each other, people killing their children, because they are stuck in a marriage that is not functioning, but they're not able to let it go. And they're not able to let it go because of themselves. It's because of expectation from their families, expectation from their church, cultural orientation,
Mm-hmm.
social norms, and the weight of all these things makes them feel so stuck in a situation they badly want out, but they cannot. And therefore, what do? When things pile up over years,
Mm-hmm.
one day someone will just wake up and will be triggered by only something minor to
Mm-hmm.
explode and
Mm-hmm.
do unthinkable. So it is. I agree with you that and especially in our African or in our Kenyan culture,
Mm-hmm.
we have this notion that maybe singlehood, I'm a single parent, or divorce is something that is not so nice, and therefore people will not be able to let it go. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, I would encourage anyone listening to me that if for sure you have done everything you know how to do it, and that it doesn't mean that when people go different ways they are bad. It's just because there's something that is not working. They are not
Yeah.
bad parents, they are
Say
not
that again.
bad partners.
Mm-hmm.
you know you
Mm-hmm.
know something something that used to function in that particular family is no longer functioning, and therefore, instead of killing your children, instead of killing each other, instead of just chopping off someone's hand or leg, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
please leave someone's daughter, someone's son, yeah, with
Mm-hmm.
peace, the way you found that particular person, yeah. So that
Exactly.
even in future you can be able to look after your kids, you can be able to attend their functions, you can be able to support them to be the adult they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be my message to people. For me, it matters marriage
It matters
and divorce
marriage.
and
Yes. Tell us about this long distance thing, because there are many people who are
better off
trapped in it.
divorce.
Yeah. You
Mm,
know, how
mm.
about
But of
this
course,
long
I'm not
distance, and
campaigning.
especially with children, how you manage that? You're living in two continents, you're living far from each other, and then, of course, you have children. How easy was that? Even before you come to the divorce part.
Again, it was not easy, because the moment now my two children were back home,
Mm-hmm.
I was just in school partly, and then I used to travel a lot home, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore, let me say, there was a lot of unsettlement, because of course, as a mother, and with the toddlers who are under 1 year, who are under 5 years, being
Mm.
so many miles away from you, you
Mm.
believe me that you cannot be able to settle emotionally and
No.
psychologically. And therefore, how I managed it is that there was a lot of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And when communication started breaking down, that was even before the birth of my last child.
Mm-hmm.
I made sure that I bought those that were taking care of our children a phone, whereby I could make sure that at least, even when communication between me and my ex was so bad that we could not even ask each other how about the children, yeah,
Mm.
I could get information about the children from the third party. But
Mm-hmm.
it was not. it was not a good thing, but I just want to show you that there was a time that things used to function and
Yeah.
communication really worked and helped me to be at least settled. But when it started breaking down, then there was a lot of stress. There was a lot of emotional pain, because
Mm-hmm.
you really there's something that is not working, and not only is your relationship not working, there are children that are involved,
Oh
and these
yes.
children are not with you.
Oh
They are
yes.
very far.
Oh
And
yes.
therefore, when your partner, you're not in good terms with your partner, somehow even you feel troubled about the children
Mm.
involved there. But
Mm-hmm.
luckily, I think one thing that I'll thank him forever is that he loved the children. He took good care of them, of course, with
Good.
my support.
Yeah.
And even when we started the divorce and all those things, of course, there were a little bit of misbehaving here and there, whereby I used to be locked out of
Oh my God.
talking to the children.
Mm.
But the fact that he lived with them, they were never left to relatives or their grandparents and all those things. And of course, he had allowed my family, my nieces, to take care of them
Mm-hmm.
until when things became so tough that he also chased them away. So
Yeah.
in majorly, he took good care of them actually, and I think that the part that was so supportive to me to be able to come back and settle for the little time I was away from them and
Mm-hmm.
concentrate with my studies and my work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that is how I managed to take care of them. But of course, when the third one came back in 2015, I had to take a break from school, and I went home for more than 8 months actually, to nurse the small one. And again,
Wow.
she was a victim of she was a victim of I don't know whether I'd call it the studies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was also left behind with the dad. But it was so beautiful because though at this particular time things were very 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 tough actually, because the whole of my last pregnancy we were not in communication. We
Mm.
just wanted a break from the marriage, and it was very very tough. But when I went back with the baby, of course, there was some family intervention that I could be allowed to come back to school and complete what I've really worked for many
Mm-hmm.
years. So it was tough, but by the God's grace, yeah, we stayed home. And when the baby was weaned, I came back to school to complete the school. And
Yeah.
therefore, after now completing the school, that is when now things I also started reflecting and asking myself about many things. Again, according to our African context, and
Mm-hmm.
apart from people, children that are or girls that are raised from educated families, because truth be told, we don't all come from the same background. Back in Kenya, we don't come from the same cultural orientation. There
Yes.
are those cultures that are very open to you need to change of times, that girls can go to school, girls can pursue their dreams.
Yeah.
And therefore, for me, I started thinking about this particular girl
Mm-hmm.
time, because she was a girl, and
Mm-hmm.
at class 8 she was supposed to do what other girls were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now the same girl got married, and here she's her marriage is at stake, so she has to choose whether to sacrifice her dream or to lose her family.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was clear that the family was not there for many many years. But still, if I wanted to still the burdens that a girl child has always been forced to carry, that for a marriage to work in my religion and in my culture,
Mm-hmm.
we are taught, we are raised up to know that if a marriage has to survive, it is a woman's work. And therefore, when I got to that particular stage, because I know what is strained a lot in my marriage is that I was away from my family. But look
Mm.
at this, Aggie. I want to look at it from my point of view. That
Mm-hmm.
I was in school when we were getting married. I
Mm-hmm.
get children when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Someone comes and decides he cannot live here because of the language. He goes back home. But
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm supposed to cut short my education and everything
Hmm.
so that I could go back home and start continue raising the children, and taking care of other woman affairs
Mm-hmm.
back home. So
Mm-hmm.
as much as it's a good thing, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. For
Yeah.
me, knowing where I'd come from, I had to make a conscious decision that I have to also take care of my needs so that I can take care of the needs of everyone else in the family. And that is
Mm-hmm.
why Aggie, you realize that I would allow the children to go back home with their dad because he's their dad. And
Yeah.
therefore, the
Yeah.
way I can take care of them, I believed in him that he could also take care of them so that I could finish my education.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, when the marriage became so tensional and shaky and all those things, then I decided, as much as I'm concerned, I'm not going to forget myself in all the challenges. That I'll prioritize what is good for me,
Mm-hmm.
and because I also knew that I am the role model of my children, and therefore how I behave in my marriage, how I behave in my career, how I behave in pursuing my personal growth, my children are likely to pick a lot from that, and therefore I didn't want to do what my parents or my grandparents did because they never had another opportunity. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing the only option they had was just to sacrifice to 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 keep up with or to put up with a lot of gender-based violence so that as they could send us to school so that we could have a home so that we
Mm-hmm.
could belong. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, in my age and era, I realized that God had given me an opportunity to change that story, if not for my whole tribe, if not for my whole village, at least for my children.
For your
That they know that
children.
they have a value, they are important, they matter actually. And therefore, if your partner is not supportive, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't also have to sacrifice yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
therefore this is the cost probably I chose to pay for my daughters. I have three girls, yeah. I
Mm.
have three girls that I know every move I make with them in mind that even when I don't sit them down to teach them, they are learning, you
Yeah,
know
sure. Yeah, sure.
and therefore it was a costly price I had to pay to
Yeah.
just sign those divorce papers because the issue was it is either you come back home or there's no family, and
Hey.
therefore
That's so
yeah.
hard. That's really
Aggie,
hard. Hmm?
this is what I normally say. Before we go to the signing papers, there are many things that had happened. And I remember back in 2016, I'm home. I had left my child in January, and
Mm-hmm.
she's turning 1 year in April. And
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go to see her. And one morning, the way you can just argue about a little thing, and someone tells you, "Can you pack your things and leave?" Yeah,
Okay.
I don't even mind the dowry I paid to your parents, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore this is something I said I'll do it consciously that my children will never be,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
equated with the animals, yeah.
Mm.
Those values, those in our culture, there's that the sheep you give,
Yeah.
there's that he go to give so that you can be given someone's daughter to marry. And
Yeah.
therefore, for someone, for me, that was the greatest of all insults. Yeah, for me to tell me, pack your things
And
and go back to your
go.
parents. Even the dowry I paid is, I'll not, I'll not mind it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and these are things when I was signing. That was back in 2016, and when I'm given papers to sign in 2018, I'm
Mm.
thinking, what other price am I going to pay for my daughters to
Mm.
be free from this kind of a culture
Yeah.
of being equated and then your value being attached to what our parents receive,
Your
and how
value with
else
the
can you
goat.
do that apart from making sure that your self development in career wise comes first, of course,
Mm.
not above everything, but it is somewhere, so that
Mm.
you teach your daughters to be independent, both in the way they think, the way they carry themselves, and the way they allow the society to look at them. It is okay
Exactly.
for our mothers and our grandparents to have gone whatever they went through because
Mm.
that is the price they paid for us to be sent to school.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to many parents why they suffered in marriages that were so abusive,
Yeah.
they will tell you that I had to remain for my children to get education, to be
Mm-hmm.
educated by their fathers, because
Mm-hmm.
those women never had any source of income.
Yeah.
And therefore, in our era, I don't think it is something beautiful. Even our children will never even appreciate that we allow someone to look down to us to that level. And for sure, our parents paid the price for us to go back to school and be able to be supportive of ourselves and to support our children.
Now I have a question, my dear.
Yes.
This is really amazing. The things you've gone through, I did not even realize that you've gone through so much. I'm amazed right now. Really, I mean, you must be very strong. I thought I am strong, but my goodness, this is just amazing. So now when you are having all these divorce things, the children were living with the father. But the last time I talked with you, the children are living with you in Norway. So how did you make that transition, my dear? I mean, how did that happen? Huh? Tell us.
You know, I love talking about this story because I cried for many years, and actually, at some point, I ended up in a psychiatric department here in Norway because I was feeling as if my life was over.
I can
But
imagine it.
answer your question, to answer your question, it's true because when all these divorce things are going on, the children were with their dad, and of course, when he gives me the paper, I'm being given papers in Nairobi, therefore meaning that he has the children.
Yes.
And from the moment of signing the divorce papers, it means that he has the custody of the children because he's the one who had the physical custody.
Yes.
And therefore, any move I would make from there would have made him to accuse me in court of law, you know, on children and abduction and all those things. And let me tell you again, I had gone through a lot of pain, that at that particular time, what mattered was to organize my thoughts. What mattered at that particular time was the welfare of my children. And I grew up, because I grew up seeing even my siblings, you know, fight and go different ways, and then the madness children used to be involved in, being moved from here, stolen there, taken there, you know, we do things from a point of love, but we don't think what we subject our children to. And therefore, for me, there was no a question of going to take my children or to remove the children from their father by force. And what I decided, I looked for a lawyer, and I sought for advice. And because he had also applied, or in those papers he had filed in court, he had applied also, he had prayed the court to give him both physical and legal custody. Therefore, mine was to counter that and ask for the same physical and legal custody, because these are two different things. And therefore, it is.
Hello.
My divorce was nothing. Actually, I love every court appearance for me for my divorce, because I went there with a clear conscience. I went there because that is what I wanted. And therefore, actually, many times we could sit in the same bench and we could talk, we could greet each other in court. And until there's a day, actually the day we had our divorce hearing, you know, our magistrate looked at us and shook his head, because he went first, because the one who filed the case, and he did his stuff. I went there, I did my stuff, and when I came to sit down, I sat next to him, and he gave me water to drink. And the magistrate that our case looked at us and shook his head and said, "I've given you 1 month before I make the decision. So please, if you change your mind, please inform me before then." So let me say, our divorce was very, very, very tension-free. Saved a few occasions here and there, but children custody case was tough. It was tough because you know, here I was, according to me, I used to term, and I still term myself as innocent, whereby I got married through the right way. We got children in agreement, and things never worked, and therefore how the children ended up under his custody was very normal process. It was an agreement between a wife and husband and parents. But then when we went to court, the issue was I was accused with the issue of abandoning the children, neglect. Actually, I would say it's in Kiswahili, it was sounding so ugly. Nilitupa watoto because
Ay.
according to his legal paper, my education came first, and
Uh-huh.
therefore I never kids were not my bother at any particular time.
Uh-huh.
And therefore, he wanted the legal and fiscal custody, and above that, he also needed support.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, support was footing all the bills and the education,
He's
health
clever.
insurance, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And on top of that, he needed about 60,000 Kenyan shilling. I don't know how much it is per month. That
Aha.
is pocket money.
That is so crazy. I mean,
And then,
literally, you have been supporting your children. You did not throw your children,
of
you're
course,
visiting them. So I hope you had enough proof that you have been doing that, because then that's not throwing away the
I tell
children.
you, for me to be laughing today and having the children with me over, of course I had all the support, but that was not that was not the only case or situation. Yeah, he has
Mm-hmm.
filed the case in Nairobi,
Mm-hmm.
and then he has also reached out here. Of course, he's been here, he knows the system, and he knows that when it comes to the issue of children with Norwegian government,
Yeah.
there's nothing convince them, and therefore he filed another case here
Mm-hmm.
for support. And for them here is that as long as you don't have the children here with you, child support is a must. And actually, they were deducting from my salary and sending to him. And
Aye.
I have another case in Kenya. I have a support instruction and orders in Kenya. But I never minded doing all those things because I knew I was doing them
For your children.
with the end result for my children and end result in mind. And I told the court, I have been doing all these things even before the court things came in, and
Yeah.
I'm not here to be instructed on how to do it because
I have
these
been doing
cases
it.
will come to an end one day. But our
Mm-hmm.
children will still exist.
Yeah.
If I cannot support them from a point of being their parents, then there's
Mm-hmm.
no, it will not work for their best and for their good because once these cases are over, the court might can tell me do 1, 2, 3, but I'm
Yes.
the one to decide whether to do it or not. And for
Yes.
me, I wanted to do something that was coming from my heart, not from the court.
Yes.
But anyway, after all those accusations, I just went. I went to court. I went with all the documents, or all the support documents, all the photos, because according to him, I used to go to Kenya, and my work was to traverse across the country. I was not visiting them. But the good thing, actually, and I thank God for the technology.
Uh-huh.
These photos you take, these videos we take with our phones,
So
let me tell you,
important.
they count
Mm-hmm.
because our case or our counter allegations, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we just did with photos. Yeah, he's saying this mother doesn't come here. Okay, can you ask him who does this and this?
Mm-hmm. My, oh my, oh my, oh
Family,
my.
he's even there, and all
Mm-hmm.
those things. That is what I'm saying is that yes, I had all the support documents, and actually, let me tell you, I normally say even today, if I never had the support documents,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the magistrate that was sitting to read his documents to decide the custody here, the custody case, I would never give the woman in those papers the children because he was not a mother but a monster,
Yeah.
you know. But the good thing is that I had an opportunity to present my documents. I had opportunity to present myself in court. Agi, let me tell you, I never missed even a mention. Court mention, the one you appear and you're told that your case will be heard on this particular day.
Yeah.
I used to travel all
Yes.
the way from here. And
Wow.
I cannot even count the number of times I traveled from here.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy would say that he never got permission from work. So there's no court proceeding Sunday. And
Oh,
because he's the one who
goodness.
filed the case, you cannot proceed without him.
Yeah.
I could just come back, and now he comes up in another day, and I could travel because I knew again there's nothing as beautiful as knowing the truth in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I never minded or whatever that was written in those papers.
Mm-hmm.
All what that gave me courage and comfort is that I know the mother been,
Yes.
and this is the mother that I want to be to my children.
Yeah.
And therefore, the court delayed, the hearings delayed because of those his tactics. And then Corona came. I tell you, when Corona came, that is when I felt like I would go mad. And at that
Headache.
particular time, he's sending papers here in the system here, calling me a thief, calling me I don't know what. And at that particular time, I remember it was June of 2020. At that
My
particular time, I had three choices. I had one choice: I buy a ticket, go home, finish all of them. I had an option of just taking out away my life.
Yeah.
I had another option of just disappearing and never ever to think I ever had children, because I was feeling now this is
Too
too much. And
much.
now Corona is here. There are no court proceedings in Kenya. For how long am I going to be in this particular
And you
situation?
cannot travel
And
freely. Mm-hmm.
I can't. And what was most heartbreaking is that, in Kenya, I never used to mind whatever I said, because I could present myself and I could talk, and the magistrate would listen to both of us. But here, they were just reading papers
Yeah.
and acting from papers.
Yeah.
And whatever paper I brought from Kenya
Yeah.
never counted, because children were with
There in
their
Kenya.
father.
Mm-hmm.
That is what that mattered, yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily, by the time we were in November, now the courts in Kenya had started adopting this Zoom thing, and actually the proceedings started now being aired there online. And therefore, because now by the time Corona came, the only bit that was remaining is about judgment.
Yeah.
And therefore, in November 2020, the judgment was made, and I was I was given the legal no legal not legal custody but physical custody, but we were to share the legal custody. And because he was claiming that I was a stranger to the children, the court was wise enough to give us 3 years transition, because the court said, okay, you say that the mother doesn't have attachment to the children. Okay, what we are going to do is this: you're going to stay with the children, but these children should be visiting her in Norway for the next 3 years, so that they can get to know each other, they can have a bond and all those things. Yeah. And then I never objected. I think it's okay. 3 years are not much considered where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And then I forwarded the same decision to the system here, to the office that was dealing with that case. And therefore, the system stopped the support it was sending to him. Guess what? The moment he got that decision from here, he surrendered. He said, come and get the children. Even the 3 years, the attachment he was claiming was not there with the children, was nullified by the cut of support from here.
So the main thing, the children were to stay there as support for him.
I don't. Actually, at that particular time, I went blank. I was not able to think. But because the Kenyan court disposition was like this, yeah. Whoever will be staying with the children will support the children. The only thing we are supposed to share was the school expenses, yeah. And therefore, I think when this guy heard that now the support he was getting through Kenyan court orders, the support he was getting from Norway, it has come to an end. So I was supposed only to support him to support the children by only sharing, and we are supposed to share the school expenses. Yeah. Any other thing, when he's staying with them, he is going to pay the rent.
Yeah.
The clothing, the food, and all those things. My friend. That is how I got my children.
I would clap for you right now, but this is amazing.
I never slept. The day I got his email saying you can come for the children, I tell you, I went home and applied, actually, because he had not gotten that decision from here, and he had refused that the children would come to visit me that April. So that April, we were back to court with my lawyer to say that he has refused the children, he has refused with their travel documents. And during this particular time, he got the decision from here, and therefore he said, come for the children. I got the decision, he told me to come for the children in April. I went and applied for the reunion in April.
Mm-hmm.
The same time I was supposed to go back to court,
Mm-hmm.
and I got the decision from immigration in June,
Mm-hmm.
18th June.
Mm-hmm.
By 1st of July, my children were here.
Hey.
I never wanted to waste any time.
Yeah.
Such reunion application takes up to 1 year.
It
I
is
I wrote
forever.
to the yeah, I wrote to the immigration department. I attached all the documents, all our conversation, our email exchanges, and I tell you, they never wasted time. They
Yeah,
just
you
gave me
mean
the visa,
you
went and
see, for them
went
it's
and
also less
conceived the
work.
children.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that
Wow.
is how now you realize when we are talking. I'm talking about the children that are already here from
Yeah.
Kenya. So, and I thank God it was tough. And we are all human. We are all human. I don't blame him for whatever he did, because he did what was working for him actually. And if I was in his shoes, yeah,
Yeah.
probably I would have done the same, because
Yeah.
there is a Swahili saying that kila mwamba ngoma ngozi huifuta kwake.
Mm-hmm.
So he was doing what he thought it was for his best interest, and when his best interests were no longer being met, so
Yeah.
he did what was again for his best interest,
For
to
sure.
uh, to hand over the burden to the owner.
Hey, my dear, my dear.
Yeah, so
This is
it was tough.
amazing.
It was tough. It's been a journey. It's been a journey, but I've learned a lot of things, that I even have, I'm a trained I'm a social worker by profession, and let me tell you,
Mm.
it is one thing being a profession and working and advising other people on what to do, and it is another thing being the one,
In that yeah.
expected to do what you've been telling people. Sometimes you even forget anything you have ever learned, even in school,
Oh
anything
yes.
you have ever advised other people and they did and they succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, my profession also helped me when I was arguing my case in court. Actually, I used a lot of my social work profession,
Mm-hmm.
knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and to argue out my case, and I think it also contributed a lot, because I was also able to help my lawyer to come up with a very good court documents that were convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Talking
Mm-hmm.
about the human women rights. UN human rights for women,
Yeah.
and therefore, my education was in line with on
Yeah.
the same line with what human rights for women advocate for, that women should be given equal opportunity with men, and therefore it would have been wrong for the court to punish me for pursuing my education and
Mm-hmm.
giving my children, because if it was him who was pursuing education, he would not been punished, because he's a man, of course. But
Yeah.
then if court punished me because of that, then they would have been going against the human rights,
Mm-hmm.
law and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was, for me it was a nice case. And
Mm-hmm.
out of that case, I've seen other intercontinental cases go through
Mm-hmm.
successfully, because whatever we go through, we don't go through in vain. We learn a lot if we allow ourselves to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We learn a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
what we learn, our experiences are able to help even others going through similar processes.
This is so inspiring. I mean, it's I think I need to have you another time to talk on specific issues, because there's a lot in packed in this story alone up to there. You've talked of the challenges, you've talked of the achievement, you said something about being an author, but I want to follow the story of the children. Now the children are here, you are here. I take it that you finished all your studies and now you're concentrating on being the mama and working. How have the
Very
children
true.
adjusted to being in Europe? I mean, they've lived most of the time there. How are they doing here now? Because, of course, you have to learn new culture, language, and all that. How do you do that?
Mhm. That question almost puts tears on my eyes, because again, when you've not lived for so long with your children,
Mm.
I was always a visiting mom, yeah,
Mm.
and a visiting mom, you're overcompensating for the time that you've not been there,
Yeah.
and therefore you don't have time to learn your children, you don't have time to put boundaries. Basically, you don't have time to parents, your
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
And therefore their relocation came with a lot of challenges, a lot of challenges. And I found myself behaving like a mad woman, and I could I could take a step behind and ask myself, "Hiya, am I going mad?" Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is because we never had even any transition period. Yeah, it was like it is decided. The father has decided, come
Yeah.
for the children, has gone for the children,
They're here.
and because of the many years I've been in court and traveling, and also even before we separated, actually, I used to travel. My friends used to ask me if I'm a member in these airlines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I would be genuine to say that since I moved to Norway, I've been working and I've been working. Even when I was a student, I used to work at annual. But I have, since they relocated, I was never able to save, yeah, because I'm always on the flight and all those. And every trip you make home, you spend a lot of money, and therefore I just go for the children with no financial preparation. It's just it may happen, it may happen. This is what I've been looking for. It has happened. Actually, yeah, it was just like a dream. Finally, he's the one who is even telling me to go for the children. Therefore, you don't want to
Imagine.
waste any time.
Yeah, because no money is coming in anymore.
Yes. Now here I am. Financially, now I have to wait until the end of month to get money. Luckily here we don't pay for medication. Health is free, education is free, everything is free
At
here.
least,
But I
yeah.
had to feed them, I had to clothe them, and luckily when I got my children, my story was put on our local newspaper, so
Ah.
we got a lot of clothes, and I thank God. I don't know how I would have managed with those children, because we were going towards summer, end of summer, then winter, and therefore that clothing was taken care of by the village. I don't mind, but other
Wow, we
things was
thank God.
working here, housing and everything. And again, I've been living alone. It was They were taking a lot of my space, and
Wow.
then they have been taken away from their father.
Father,
I think there's something they need. They were not able to put words into whatever they were feeling. I could see clearly, and especially our firstborn, she had things that she was struggling with. And here we are. They are used to mama who is telling them, dress up, we are going to Two Rivers, dress up, we are going to Mombasa, I don't know where. Now here it is a mother who is telling them, can you clear after yourself? Can you make your bed? Can you do this? And it
exactly.
was chaos. It was chaos,
Oh, wow.
And for me to learn, it was no longer the time I used to go to work and to find my house the way I left it. It was something. It was something.
That's an adjustment, I tell you.
Within the year 3 months of reunion, yeah, I cannot even tell you how many times I told them I'm going to send you back to your father.
But they knew you love them. You cannot do that. But I understand, because it's not that easy. When children come, you cannot just arrange everything and find it the way it was. They also are living there.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Today, when I look back, I feel bad. I feel bad for them, because kids are different. Yeah,
Yes.
there's those who could tell me, "Mom," they call me mama. Mama, over your. They don't even tell me over my dead body. They tell me over your dead body. I'm not going. And then
Very
the
good kids.
firstborn would just feel bad. She would be withdrawn and all those things. And let me tell you, it was bad to this extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That day, my firstborn just looked at me and told me, "Mama, I know you don't love me." And because it was a lot of tension, yeah, I don't know, from nowhere, I told her, "Do you know, my dear girl, I am not here to love you. I am here to raise you up. And that is what I'm exactly doing. However you interpret that is up to you. From a mother's mouth, it was that tough. Yeah?
It's hard. I mean, they've been away for years.
Yeah, with time we have learned to adjust. We have learned to accommodate each other in our life. They have learned to accommodate this mother. They have learned to accept that the mother is not leaving. The mother is here to stay. I've also learned that my children are here to stay. Of course, they had issue now. They have come to Norway. Internet is everywhere. They have been given iPads at school. They don't know how to discipline themselves. So they would wake up at night and watch. And of course, we cannot separate ourselves from our upbringing.
Yeah.
As a typical Kenyan parent, I storm to school and tell them those things I don't want to see them in my house. They are creating chaos and all those things.
Yeah, and they're like, whoa,
you know, it
whoa.
was it was it was tough everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the crisis got a way of teaching us
Yeah.
some things that we would not have learned them otherwise.
Yeah.
And I know Norway has one of the strictest child welfare. And I know I've been coaching as a social worker. I've been coaching a lot of immigrants how to relate with their child welfare, especially when they get into we call them they get into trouble with the child welfare.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was my turn, I had to sit down and ask myself, how am I going to take advantage of
To
this
deal
child
with
welfare?
this.
Of course, as a social worker,
Yes.
pardon.
Yeah, I know.
And
Yeah.
I remember at some point I went, I looked for them myself, and I told them, I think I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need some, I don't know how we call it. I don't know what a nice Norwegian, an English word in English,
Mm-hmm.
a nice English word for, they call it in Norwegian by learning, guidance on parenting.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I realized that how I was brought up and how children are supposed to be brought up here in Norway, they are coming into conflict. Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
told them, I know for sure whatever I'm doing it for with their best interest in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know once these two things come into conflict, yeah,
Yeah.
because they are living here in Norway, they look at me with the African glasses,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
therefore they will start bringing the issue of abuse parents,
Mm-hmm.
all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, I've come here to seek for help. I need guidance,
Yeah.
and I request of you that don't meet me with an African attitude, because a lot of us Africans suffer from that.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to meet me with from a point of being a parent who needs a support system
Yeah.
to be able to support my children through
Mm-hmm.
the best way I can here, so that they can be able to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
They have been through a lot of instability
Yeah.
back home, emotional and psychological, and
Yeah.
therefore I don't want also to come and reinforce this. I really want to be the parent they need to have for them to be able to adjust here.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thank God, because a lot of things came up from that our first meeting with the child welfare at school,
Mm-hmm.
and things that are probably would not have come up if there was no that tension and that type of tense transition. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and therefore, I don't know how it is in other countries, but I know in Norway, people hear about the child welfare and they're like, those are the guys that I wouldn't want to see next to me. But I would
I
tell
tell
people
you.
there to reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, they are, even here in Germany is the same. Actually, everyone is always scared of them, and sometimes they don't see them as a help organization, but as something that is not meaning well with them. So many people try to avoid to relate with them in any way, even if asking for help or something like that. But that's a topic for another time. But
I tell you, and
yeah.
yeah, it's a topic for another.
Yes.
It's a whole topic on its own, how we
Yes.
should make use of these
Yes.
systems to work for us.
Yes. And this is something I think I will call you to the table, because there's so much we need to talk about. I think I have 1,001 questions, but I would like people to know where to get you. I'm going to cut the story short, because at 6 there is a Kingdom Talk show coming up on the program, but we have to talk again. But until then, where can people get you on social media or wherever? How can people get you? Tell them where they can get your book, and then we will have to schedule another program. I need to hear more about what you're doing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You can reach me through my WhatsApp number that I use to distribute my book. It is +254 705 688 460. You send me a WhatsApp message, you order your book, and my rider will dispatch it regardless of where you are in the country. And even we distribute it. The book, I send it through post office from wherever you are. I've sent a lot of books to Canada, US, wherever, Germany and Australia. I've sent a lot of books. So don't hesitate from placing your order. Then another place you can find me, I maintain only one social media platform, and that is Facebook. My Facebook username is Chemna Talks. CHEMA and then Talks. You find me there, Chemna Talks. That is my official Facebook page. If you want to communicate with me, please drop me a message on my messenger, and we can hook up. We can get in touch. Thank you so much.
Super. I think you had also done some on YouTube a show with, I think, Tuka or who, because some people may want to hear your story again. Where was it?
Okay, for those who would understand our local language, as I said, I'm Kikuyu. I was a guest at a lady's YouTube channel called Medaya Kagoni. And she's called Medaya Kagoni. That is in Kikuyu language, but you can listen to my story. I've been hosted by Jeff Koinange at Hot 96. I've also been hosted by Mwikali on Motivate. Monday, I've also been hosted by Kameme, that is another local TV station. I've been to Wero TV for those people who come from Meru, both radio and TV. So my story is on YouTube a lot. Just Google Caroline Temnangoi, or just write on YouTube Caroline Temnangoi, and my story will come with both in Swahili, English, and Kikuyu and Kimeru. So you choose for yourself.
Wonderful, because I think you have a lot to tell the world and inspire women, girls. I mean, where your story starts and where it is now, it's so amazing and inspiring. And I really thank you so much for taking your time and being with us, even if we had starting trouble. But I look forward to the next time I'll have a program with you, because it's gonna be there one of these days again.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Be blessed, and may God give you strength also to, as you continue adjusting with the children also in Norway, and all the best. They are gonna shine as well.
Thank you.
Because the mama is shining, they're gonna shine as well. Yeah. Okay, then all the best. All the best. And
bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Till next time. Bye-bye. So guys, we are finishing. We are a bit late. Kingdom Talk Show is coming up at 6. Thank you. We are really thankful for such a guest. She has a lot to tell, and it's sad that we could not have her face on the video, but next time maybe it will work better. And this was Aggie's live talk show on Radio RFM in Stuttgart, Germany, every Sunday from 4 p.m. And I look forward to hosting you next time. So be blessed and have a beautiful Sunday late afternoon. Ciao, ciao.
Let me show you Go tell all your friends I love them too. I look nice but I'm not so good. I got something I just wanna prove. Can you get yourself inside my room? Let me show you something, something you will appreciate. Oh. Let me show you something, something you will never wanna say no. Let me show you something, something that will take away your sorrow. Let me show you something. Let me show you something.
Radio RFM. Let me show you home of African music.